Hey guys, it's me, Teresa Callard Moore. I'm going to continue to read BridgeIT, the Integrative Medicine Approach to the Healthcare Crisis in the United States. On to Chapter 4. I love it when a plan comes together. Hannibal Smith from the A-Team. The Epiphany. At the time, President Obama was working on the Affordable Health Care Act. Our country was in turmoil and couldn't agree on how to handle basic health care coverage, much less address the integrative medicine approaches. This was so frustrating because I could see my clients and my family were getting better using integrative medicine practices. I was attending the second training for sexual addiction in Arizona when I asked the presenter, Dr. Patrick Carnes, if treatment centers ever use supplements like inositol for obsessive compulsive disorders. He said no. Then I later raised my hand and said, does anyone do Reiki or energy work for anxiety? And he said no. And then I thought, I'm not amongst my people. I need to probably not ask these questions. He approached me at lunch and said, why aren't you presenting your research at our conferences? Why don't you have your PhD? We want to hear what you're doing. I was shocked. I felt like I was nominated for Homecoming Queen. And then at that same moment, I thought, there's no way. I don't have time for research. I don't have time to go back to school with 4 kids. I added a few after I got married. And who would listen to one therapist in Flint, Michigan? At the conclusion of the training, I chose to drive to an inpatient facility in Arizona. It was there, driving in the beautiful desert, mulling over the conference and my life up to that point, when I realized I had an epiphany, which I'll talk about after I'm done with the chapter. Have you ever had one of those? It was like all the synapses in my brain fired all at once, and the accumulation of my life gelled into one moment, into this picture in my mind. I was looking at it from a micro perspective, and then I flipped it to a macro perspective. My thought was, if I was the insurance company for holistic methods, I could do all of that. I went to this restaurant that happened to have the paper tablecloths. I cleared them out. I cleared the whole tablecloth and I drew what was in my head. And I do still have it. I'll blog about that later. I called it Integrity, a Holistic Community Health Plan. If you had all the money that you pay to your insurance company, what would you do? How would you take care of your health? That's what I want to know from you. Here's what my idea was. At first, I saw 3 tiers of insurance coverage. Tier 1, which would be the optimal one, those who use integrative medicine and only use traditional medicine for physicals and emergencies. Your employer would pay you cash benefits you have now to use at your discretion. You could pay for health food, yoga class, chiropractic, whatever you wanted, right? Then, like a healthcare savings account, you would still have basic emergency policy in case of an accident or injury, right? The tier 1 customers would pay for the insurance, would not pay for insurance premiums or deductibles or copays. So basically, that $5,000 deductible you have, you get to decide what you pay for. You would choose the wellness practices you prefer, chiropractic, yoga, vegan diet, and then pay those providers directly at a discounted rate. So it would take away the third-party payer. If you had an accident, injury, or chronic illness, they would be classified as tier 2 or 3 and get some coverage until you get back to tier 1. So listen along. This was the idea. Tier 2, those who blend some chronic medical issues and treatments with increasing use of integrative medicine. They would pay for less coverage than they have now, so they have more money to work with. They would participate in community educational events to get their health back into balance. The goal would be getting back to tier 1. They would pay for healthcare insurance, but it'd be less than tier 3. Excuse me. Tier 3 are those who aren't using any integrative medicine and dependent on the medical system to manage their health as it is now. The focus of the insurance company would be to educate the community on ways to improve their health and wellness and move from a tier 3 up to a tier 1. However, they could stand a tier 3, but it would just cost more, like it does now. All right, one of the pieces was community case managers. I had a vision of a community case manager working with employers to improve the work environment. The employer would pay the community case manager to improve the wellness and reduce healthcare costs. Instead of paying for insurance premiums, they could offer real meals in the workplace adequate child care and maternity leave, balancing out the hours of the work week, things like that. We would offer a case manager to be located in each company and facilitate the process. In exchange for the discounts offered by the integrative medicine providers, I wanted to hire those providers to educate the community on integrative medicine. So, on one hand, they'd reduce their income, but they'd also get paid to provide education. More about that later. If I were the insurance company, I could do all of that and gather research on its effectiveness. I would promote us being more in charge of our health and wellness and save money on healthcare costs. We would be focusing on the cause of illness and true prevention, not symptom management, and save our healthcare interventions for the acute illness and major injuries. That's when I hit my first roadblock. I would need millions of dollars to start an insurance company. I approached insurance companies in Michigan, tried to show them how much money they could save. They did not see what I saw. Therefore, I decided to modify my idea to a discount program of Tier 1 only and start there. So, on to Plan B. I took the idea of Tier 1 and pivoted it to a discount membership program, and I still use the name Integrity, a holistic community health plan. Okay, so that's the first section of the story. I really wanted to talk about the Epiphany. This chapter's done, but that Epiphany thing was the most powerful moment I've ever really had. It was like, I know the author who wrote the book E-Myth Revisited, Michael, sorry, I can't think of your name, but I'll come back to that. Anyway, he said it's like an entrepreneurial seizure. To me, it was like an entrepreneurial mind orgasm. It was the most powerful experience I'd ever had, and I just started to cry like, oh my God, that could work. That could really work. For hours, I was drawing this thing. It was almost like a manic state. I've never had one before, but that must be what it is for my patient. It was incredible. I really feel like it was a spiritual moment for me. Like, okay, here you go. This is what we want you to do. And that's part of the reason I've never been able to give it up, because it was such a powerful thing. And all this time, for 11 years, every seminar I've ever given, every talk I've ever given, and every elevator speech I've ever given, no one has ever said, well, that's a dumb idea. Why would you do that? So here I am, still trying to do it. Hopefully, if I appeal to all of you, maybe you'll think it's a good idea too. Or we'll come up with a better idea. Like I said, I love to be creative, so let's figure it out together. Anyway, that's the story of how Integrity started, and I hope you enjoy this book so far. If you do, give me some likes and be sure to subscribe so you can hear the rest of the book. Thanks, you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.